Yeah, there. All right, so we'll go ahead and move on to the other conference, man. Let's go to the West. Tonight's game is Lakers and Rockets, the main event. It's the only NBA playoff game on tonight, and the Rockets are looking like they are on the brink of elimination, but it's looking like they got nothing left in the tank. The house guy who had the COVID tester in his hotel, even though he had a beautiful family, by the way, have fun with that child support, but damn, man, the Rockets have no wind left in their sails, man. I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Jalen in a second, but one thing I want to say is this, man. James Harden is the biggest fraud in the NBA, man. He's the fraudiest superstar in the entire NBA. James, bro, it's getting to a point now where I can't trust him in a game. Like, I think at this point I'll feel more comfortable with Eric Gordon down the stretch of a Rockets playoff game. That's how bad Harden has been, man. That's how bad Harden has been. You know what? Give it to Austin Rivers, man. Let Austin Rivers go get himself a bucket. Because James Harden, bro, this guy is a fraud, bro. It's insane. Why I'm not trying to sound like too much of a hater here. I'm not trying to be on those skip shit, but holy shit, like. Let's look at
Jalen, go ahead and speak
before I pass it off to you, bro. Look at his resume, man. He has these big games where he's supposed to go off. You had no Russell Westbrook in that OKC series. Pat Bev took Russell Westbrook out. He played like some shit. You got 2016. I think they were playing I forget. I think they were playing the Warriors first round of Steph Curry's MVP season, unanimous, right? You go out there, no Steph, and you lose in 5? How? How do you do that? And then you keep moving forward. Every year it's something else. You got that Spurs series when it's Game 6. You need to have the biggest game of your life. I think Kawhi is not even playing in this game. LaMarcus Aldridge is the best player. And you lose by 30, and you have 10 turnovers and like 2 made field goals. The last game James Harden played, you're trying to avoid this 3-1 deficit. And you scored 2 field goals, bruh? Really? Come on, man, Jalen, man. How are you gonna defend this man? I want to hear this.
Bro, like the video, bro. They bring in the collab, bro. They bring in all types of nonsense. Oh man, Jordan is a fraud. This man Ryan got that. He's going to the finals. This man Ryan saved that Giannis to LA take just for y'all. Like the video, man, because they tripping. Let's do it this way, bro. When it comes to this series specifically, right? First of all, the problem with James Harden, I feel like all postseason has really been that we haven't really seen him go off yet. It's weird. He got a lot of flack for not playing defense, and then makes one of his, I guess, bigger plays defensively with the block on Lou Dort, then having the wherewithal to jump over the ball wing back, which was extremely stupid on Dort's part. I would have just tried to launch another shot up, but that's neither here nor there. Whatever. But I think the biggest thing about all of this really, right, is we're coming at James, and I get it. Last game, not good. 2 field goals, most of his time spent at the line. That's not gonna get it done. But when are we gonna point the finger at Russ? Like, when are we gonna? Hey man,
listen, scapegoats, man.
Joe, let me ask you this, because this is my guy, so I don't even like doing this. I don't even like coming at this man disrespectful like this. But let's keep it a buck. Game 2, Rondo had his neck the whole game. And Rondo didn't even play that crazy. 10 points, 9 assists.
He had who's next? He had Westbrook or Harden?
I think he had 1 or 2 3-pointers. Game 3 was kind of where Rondo kind of ate a little bit, and that's where things kind of came into fruition on his end with the 20 points. Game 4, kind of a little bit of the same thing. I mean, granted, Russ dropped his 30, and, that kind of kept things rolling for them. But the issue is the decision-making down the stretch. Those last 5 minutes of the game, they're having issues figuring out who the hell is going to close. And I get it. The first thing that anybody would say, because this is where I lean with you, is why does James Harden not have the ball, right? Why is he not the main one initiating the offense down the stretch? We could say the same thing about how it went against the Thunder. In terms of Russ driving in, passing it back to Robert Covington, turning the ball, pretty much giving the game away. Look, all I'm saying is that in a your turn, my turn offense, they have to figure out who that guy is going to be. We know it's James Harden. We know it should be James Harden. Or are they treating it like that? That's the only thing that is kind of worries me with that, is because Russ is the hardest player in the league to me in terms of playing at 110% every night, controlling the pace of the game, being the guy who steps up down the stretch to give them buckets. But sometimes, bro, you need to know who you are and who else is on your team. I think James Harden living at the free throw line isn't going to get it done, but you got to throw that man the pill. Like, give that man the pill. Because at the end of the day, even if he doesn't convert with the three-pointers and all that stuff, we know we're going to see him at the line 20 times.
Right.
And that stuff helps with closing the game, too. Look, fraud is strong. I got questions about him. I do. I got questions about James. But fraud, though, bro, I don't know.
I'll tell you why I say that, though.
You got me twisted.
Let me explain why I call him a fraud, right? Because the NBA in the regular season, it's a place for the fans. You understand? Like, it's like the NBA in the regular season is for Sports Center. It's for the fans. It's for even for the players, man. Honestly, I think some of these guys go out there and think more about, like, the benefits of being an NBA player instead of winning a championship. Like, we've seen it with Melo, where he chose the money and he chose the lifestyle over the championship. So I just don't want that to be like James Harden's situation, but that's what it's looking like. You know, obviously take it at face value, but there was reports that he lost a game like some years ago and then went directly to the strip club and just balled out at the strip club way harder than he balled out in the actual playoff game. So come on, bro. And why I call him a fraud is because this man is dropping 40, 50, 60 in the regular season at ease. But that kind of game, and I know it's like it's like an outdated, I think a lot of old heads like to say this kind of play won't win a championship, but will it? It really, like, it doesn't seem like it. And I'm not saying he needs to be taking the last shot every time, like in terms of him being like, you know, what I'm saying, like, oh, give it to Eric Gordon, give it to Austin Rivers. I'm saying, like, have the ball in your hands and make a decision, because there's times where this motherfucker is like not even involved in the play. Like, he's running to the corner and just watching whoever. Like, before Russell Westbrook, it was like you got fucking Chandler Parsons taking the last shot in some of these games, man. Like, James Harden, I feel like he's just so uninvolved in big moments, man. Like, he plays great in game 1, in game 2, but once you start getting towards the 5 and 6, and, you know, it starts to slow down, more turnovers, and you really start to see how exposed his game is in the playoffs, because the playoffs, you can't play hero ball, man. It's slower than what it usually is, so he's not going to get 50 and 60 in the playoffs. I think his career high in the playoffs is like in the 40s, right? And his average in the regular season is like 35, right? So it's a significant drop-off in the playoffs, which, like, the playoffs, as opposed to the regular season, is for legacy. That's for where guys' careers are really cemented, like being a great player. Is James Harden a great player? Probably, but is he going to be in the top of my? Is he going to be in the top of my mind? Is he going to be in the top of my mind when I'm thinking like top 5, 10 players of the last decade? I don't know, bro. I think he's like the most talented offensive player outside of Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is still the best offensive player in the NBA, like, when healthy. But bro, like, what is this guy doing? 10 turnovers, 2 made field goals, bro. Like, give me one gamer, bro. Give me one of those. Why don't you dribble through your legs and get 4-point plays in the playoffs? Why don't you drop 60 in the playoffs? That's why I'm saying he's a fraud, because he can go out there and get a 60-point triple-double in the regular season, but when it comes down to it, when they need him, you know what, like when we look at a game like tonight, what are most people going to say? James Harden needs to drop like 40 points, 50 points. Like, motherfuckers are saying that, right? Like, that's a common narrative. So, I don't want to sound like a casual here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of casuals would be quick to say, like, oh, man, you know, just because he's in the play. Nah, it's because of how long he hasn't been doing in the playoffs. This motherfucker is like a decade in, bruh. Almost damn near a decade in. And I know he's a lot of people's favorite players, and they're going to kill me in the comments, man. I'm not a casual, I promise. I watch these fucking games, man. I look at these stats, and I have reference for everything. Anybody that want to question it. James Harden has habitually come up small in big playoff games, but then when the regular season rolls around, he's a dog. He's a fucking every single night doing some wild stat line, scoring 50 points. He broke Michael Jordan's record for 30-point, whatever, this, that, and the third. But as soon as he comes to the playoffs, he gets embarrassed.
Let me say this. I think ever since he got elbowed by Ron Artest in 2012, I think
that was the start of it, right?
For real. For real, bro. Because even during the playoff run, bro, he was fraud in the finals. He didn't do anything in the finals that year. Like, it's been bad, bro.
To be fair, I'm not holding that bad finals against Harden because he was hella young. You got two other guys taking more shots. Kevin Durant, was basically, using up most of their possessions and whatnot. But I don't hold that against them. They're playing against LeBron and D Wade. They had the fact they even won a game was impressive. So I give them props for that. But
that's fair.
When you come to fucking, like, even you're gonna get outplayed by Damian Lillard in his second year, and you're a superstar player, bro. Like, stop it with that, man. This guy James Harden, to me, is like, he's a magician in the playoffs, bro, because he does his famous disappearing act in the biggest moments. He just poof, abracadabra, gone. No fucking James Harden to be seen. Like, you got Russell Westbrook taking the shot, bro. He's doing the same. And I think Russell Westbrook and Mike D'Antoni are scapegoats, in my opinion. I think it's easy to turn the other cheek when it comes to a James Harden performance this year because they're trying to stay with the Mike D'Antoni system. Russell Westbrook, rightfully so. Russell Westbrook plays horribly down the stretch with those turnovers, missed shots, and whatnot. So if you're James Harden and you know that, get the ball out of his hands. Say, you know what? Say this. Say, hey, give me the fucking ball. Give me the ball. I don't even have to shoot. I don't have to shoot the ball, but let me make the decision. Let me make the decision. And James Harden's a great passer. He doesn't have to shoot it. He just has to decision make, and he's not decision making. This shit's crazy to me.
I think you got to be like Michael Porter Jr. and try to blame everybody else for not getting
my God.
But let me say this. We keep on bashing James Harden, which is very, very qualified. But I also think the fact that you're doing this quote unquote micro ball, right? And you're trying to just like play small. You're trying to ostracize everybody if you're Mike D'Antoni. Like, Mike D'Antoni's system, the way he wants to coach and play, it's just not going to work. And it's just as much of an indictment on him as it is on James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Jalen, I agree with you, bro. This guy, he is just as much of a fraud as James Harden is because you don't want him. You don't want like he's not a championship.
Y'all are different over here, bro. Y'all are different. I didn't strapped for this. I didn't come strapped for this.
Listen, though, we keep on saying he's not a championship level point guard, and we keep on seeing it. KD leaves, and you think it's because of Russell Westbrook. Like, this Paul George leaves.
Russell's a fraud. He's a fraud.
Because he keeps on losing in the finals. He wants to keep on rapping to Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard destroys them. He breaks up the bad boys. Like, this is crazy. This is just like an imperfect team, and this is why I was so worried about them at the beginning of the season, because I'm like, for one, who gets the ball? And then for two, who closes out a game? Because you don't trust James Harden. Russell Westbrook isn't a championship level point guard. This Rockets team is just very, very flawed. Mm-hmm. And I get the fact that they're both super fun players to watch. They're both walking triple doubles, but
amazing
they're
players.
Just for a good backcourt of the future. They're not the OKC Thunder from 2012 where you're thinking this team is going to be able to be a finals team for every year. Nah, that's not them, bro.
Like when I think of Russell Westbrook, of James Harden, man, I almost want to compare him to somebody like Charles Barkley, but I can't even do that. You know why? Because Charles Barkley had dominant playoff games. Dominant, right? Like, I would say, like, Harden hasn't even reached that plateau yet.
Let's get Ryan in on here.
Yeah, Ryan, man, what are your thoughts on this, bro? Give us your opinion on this Harden fraud take.
Jalen, Jalen, treat this like WWE and give me the hot tag, please.
Oh man, bro.
James Harden is a fraud. Dang. I'll give you credit because that was a lot to unpack there. Russell Westbrook has shown in the playoffs he cannot make a lot of good shots when it comes down to it. I can remember specifically, I think it was his first year after Kevin Durant left. I think it was Game 5. He only made 5 threes. He went like 5 of 23 from beyond the arc and shot like 40 times. It was nuts. He kept shooting and it didn't go in. I remember that game very vividly and just remember that Russell Westbrook cannot come in clutch at certain points in the game. This is insane. Harden's a fraud. Oh, I don't know, man. The evidence is there, but
damn it,
Harden's
bro.
a fraud. I think you broke Jalen.
Hey, man, all love, though, man.
Like a stat sheets, how James Harden, whenever he's in the stripper city, like a good strip club city, he always performs badly. And every time he's not in somewhere, he drops like 60 points, right? Now he's in Orlando. There's no bubble. You're in the bubble. You have no distractions. And this guy is still being a fraud. This is flagrant foul 3, flagrant foul 4 for the way he's performing. He's not getting it done, and I'm tired of it. He needs to get it done.
This is where I will agree with you. He's playing a Lakers team that's basically LeBron and Anthony Davis. I'm not counting, Danny Green, KCP, Caruso, Dwight Howard as part of this team because this is LeBron and AD's
it's the
team.
LeBron
They're pretty much
Lakers,
the sole
bro.
playmakers on this team. And the fact that they beat the Blazers in 5 games when I thought that the Blazers were going to win 7, kudos to them. But this is going to end up being the same series that's going to take them to the Western Conference Finals where the LeBron and AD will carry the Lakers to the Western Conference Finals in 5 games.
Tonight. They're ending it tonight.
Yes. To be now moving to the Rockets, the flip side. I thought there was going to be some chemistry on this team, and yes, I was wrong. I think Russell Westbrook needs to step up more, but we cannot put this on James Harden.
Why not?
Just solely James Harden. I know that the 2 field goals that he made the two field goals that he made, obviously that's suspect. Russell Westbrook's playoff history is suspect. Mike D'Antoni as a coach in the playoffs is suspect.
Exactly.
But you got to share the wealth in terms of the blame because this is not just falling on James Harden. I think that the circumstances could be differently if this was a road game and he was playing at the Staples Center. Yeah, you probably expect him to drop 50 and grab 13 rebounds and have 8 assists. But he's in Orlando with no fans, and he's not having a great game. But he's not having a lot of great games. But man, to say James Harden is a fraud in the postseason, yes. In the regular season, he's up for MVP.
Oh, no. Hey, I never questioned his regular season play ever.
Yes.
He's probably, him and LeBron in my eyes LeBron not so much, but I think James Harden is one of the greatest players in the regular season ever. In terms of
Agreed.
entertainment value, production, and stuff like that, and even wins. Right, he took a team with no Chris Paul last year all the way to the top spots. But let's not ignore if you tell me, right, or if I tell you, let's say you don't know who I'm talking about, and I say this guy is the best offensive player in the NBA by a good margin, would you expect him to go out there and score twice? You would expect him to go out there and score some more, right? And not be a magician.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to tell you guys.